Now, in this interview on ENCA with Matole Motshekga, the journalist speaking asked questions like, is this a big turnaround? Is this, he used the phrase, a jiggy, a little bit sneaky, I'm quoting again, of the ANC to put forward the Gazette and then say that we want a more radical approach. And he said in particular, asked a further poignant question, or pertinent question, which was, who guards the guardians? If the executive has this power de facto to decide who's going to get no compensation, and the recourse to the courts is as limited as possibly can be, how can we trust the executive not to abuse that power? To which the answer was, well, the executive is the representative of the people, and we're really good at doing our jobs. Terence, do you want to talk us through a little bit of the track record we have at the Department of Rural Development and Land Reform, and more broadly in the administration of land reform?
Well, I think that that sort of argument, we are the people, that was first used in the French Revolution. You can chop off people's heads because we are the people and we know what we're doing. I think it is very much a part of the ANC's worldview. About 15 years ago, there was a wonderful line in one of its papers about how it is the most important moral voice in any question facing the country. This is a particular self-conception. In reality, I think that you would find very, very few people in South Africa, and I'm willing to, bet a fair amount, not my property, that there are many people in the ANC who will roll their eyes at that suggestion. It's interesting that the same state which which has been overseeing a land reform program, which the ANC says has not succeeded, that has overseen things like ESCOM, like the Road Accident Fund, etc., SAA, is the one demanding ever more power and ever more discretion to intrude on private property, whether it's held by private individuals or by businesses. I think an interesting thing, we talk about the executive, and the assumption is somehow this is ministers and elevated personages. It remains to be seen how this will play out. But if you for instance read the advisory panel on land reform, they want to extend this to very many institutions. So it could, for instance, be your local municipality, many of which are in a dreadful state and are essentially run as patronage machines. There is an enormous amount to be feared here, and if I could just add on the jiggy question, we have a situation. This whole process is sort of unfolded in small parcels, each of which might seem fairly innocuous or something that can be accepted and moved on from. I think here we've kind of reached the red line, where we've gone from making explicit that which is implicit, just a snip here and a tuck there, to, well, this fundamentally changes the relationship between the individual and the state to which he or she is subject. So no, I think there is a great deal to be deeply concerned about, and I think that on the question of being sneaky, well, I wonder whether this wasn't the sort of play, if not sort of written up in a document kept in a safe somewhere, but the thinking that you can gradually, that you can incrementally increase and expand that latitude. And I would like to suggest that something else that we might see disappearing is the explicit reference in that amendment to land.
Yeah.
And I think we could well find that we end up with something, or a proposal where the executive gets to decide what property it wants to take. So pension funds, shares in companies, intellectual property, all that sort of thing, which I think is a great deal more enticing than 1,000 hectares in the Northern Cape, could become fair game.
Yeah, I think the phrase is like boiling a frog in water without a lid. You just slowly increase the temperature, and every increment doesn't seem to cross the line.